Well, could this morning have been any cuter? Yeah. Child baptized, child doing our worship. It's been a good morning so far. Of course, now I'm going to talk about something maybe not as cute. You see my picture on the screens there. I don't know about y'all, but there's always someone in the family that when you get together with your family, everybody likes to tell stories about. Well, it may shock you that I'm that person in my mom's side of the family. And when I was recently visiting my grandmother, my aunt and my uncle were talking, and we brought up a story. When I was in about 4th grade, the school I was going to in Clinton, Arkansas, rodeo was a big thing, okay? And every year they had a school rodeo. And high school students would sign up to ride bulls, to ride bucket horses, to barrel race, steer wrestle, all those different things. Now, as a 4th grader, there wasn't really much of that I could do. But they did have a deal at the beginning of the rodeo where all the people would come out and show off their horses. And they would ride them around the arena a few times while the announcer was saying some things and some music was playing. It's usually led out by the American flag, things like that. And it was always a real neat time. Well, I wanted to participate. This was a school rodeo. Well, my grandfather raised donkeys. He had a few horses at times, but at this time he didn't have any horses. And so all I had to ride was a donkey named Katie. Now, but I was pretty pumped about this, okay? I was a little 4th grade chubby kid. I was excited, okay? And I'd ridden Katie around the farm, but never anywhere else, really. Well, my grandpa brings Katie down in his horse trailer, and we get her out, and we're ready to ride around in the little parade at the beginning. And I'm excited. I kind of get in line, and of course, there's a few kids with ponies, but shockingly, I was the only donkey there. Well, all of a sudden, we head out into the arena, and I look to my donkey starts going to the fence on the side of the arena. And I looked, and they had a row of hay all along the arena. Well, my donkey decided she needed some hay. And so she just went off to the side. So I didn't even get to make a round in the arena. So finally, I just got mad. I was embarrassed. I jumped off my donkey. I went out of the arena. My grandpa was laughing pretty good, being the encouraging guy he was. And then my ego got blasted a little worse. Because then one of the rodeo crowns went up to me. And he says, "Hey, can I ride that thing?" So I don't know what it says about you when your ride gets taken over by the clown. And he's able to get it around because he had a big red wiffle ball bat he was whipping the thing with. Well, the story we're going to look at today is one that I guess I relate to a little bit because I've dealt with an ornery donkey before. In Numbers chapter 22, we hear of Balaam and his donkey. And this is a story, once again, that, like many, that we read as kids. We probably studied in Sunday school or VBS as kids. But it's been really neat as I studied this as a supplementary passage for a message I did with the youth a little over a year ago. And I was just really taken back by some of the things in this passage that I never knew as a kid. And then even since then, reading through it, it just really jumped out to me. And so I wanted to talk about that this morning. Now, to understand what's going on here, the Israelites are being led through the wilderness. They've been going for around 38 years or so. And they're just about to go into the promised land. They're camped out, fixing to go to Jericho. And we know that story. But before they go, they camp out, they're resting, they're getting ready, and they're camped out close to the Moabites. Well, King Balaam of the Moabites got a little nervous. because he looked and saw these millions of people that were the Israelites. And he had heard about them conquering other armies in other countries. And so he got worried. And he realized that he couldn't fight them. And so he thought, well, here's what I'll do. I'll call up Balaam. And we'll get Balaam to help us out. So he sends, and Balaam was a prophet. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. He sends some people to see Balaam. And he sends some money with him. And he wants him to come and bless the Moabites and speak a curse on the Israelites. Well, of course, Balaam says, well, let me see. Let me talk to God. So he goes and talks to God, and God tells him no. So then Balak says, okay, maybe he didn't know how serious I was. So Balak sent some higher officials and more money to Balaam. So that's where we pick up in Numbers 22, beginning in verse 15. Once again, Balak sent princes, more in number and more honorable than these. And they came to Balaam and said to him, thus says Balak, son of Zippor, let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will surely do you great honor. And whatever you say to me, I will do. Come curse this people for me. But Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not, beyond the command of the Lord my God, do less or more. So you two, please stay here tonight. I may know more what the Lord will say to me. And God came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men had come to call you, rise, go with them. But only do what I tell you. So Balaam rose in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the prince of Moab. Verse 22, but God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord took his hand on the way, in the way of his adversary. So he stand in the way of his adversary. Now, to understand what's going on here, because the first thing that jumps out, hopefully it jumped out to you, was God told him to go. And then the next verse, God's anger is against him. He's putting an angel in the way. Now, in first reading, like many people would read this, and especially don't believe the Bible, would say, well, see, God doesn't know what he's doing. He's schizophrenic. God can't make up his mind. He's telling him one thing and doing another. What is this? Who is this God that you worship to do that? Well, there's some things we need to understand first. First of all, Balaam was not he was not an Israelite prophet. In fact, Balaam was a prophet that was known to speak to all kinds of gods. He was sort of the pagan side of Moses. Moses was the famous one that spoke to Yahweh. Balaam was the famous one that spoke to all other gods. Balaam probably, it's interesting because Balaam does call God Yahweh. So we know that he knew about God. But through other passages of Scripture, through other writings outside of the Bible, historical writings, we learn that Balaam was not at all a follower of Yahweh. He was real well known to speak to all kinds of gods, do all kinds of sorcery and divination. He was just kind of a prophet for anybody. And so this is who Balak's calling. So it's interesting that as Balaam talks to God, God does tell him no at first, and then God says, okay, you can go with him. But why does God get angry with him? You know, the text doesn't really tell us here. But there's a few things we can figure out. One way we can figure them out is through looking elsewhere in the Bible. And even in the book of Revelation 2, verse 14, you don't have to turn it now, I'll read it to you. But as John's writing his letters to the churches, at the church of Pergamum, he said, but I have a few things against you. You have some who hold the teachings of Balaam, who taught Balak to put stumbling block before the sons of Israel, so that they might eat food sacrificed to idols and practice sexual immorality. Elsewhere in the Bible, in Jude, 2 Peter, in Malachi, the Bible tells us that Balaam was not, his motivation was not in the right place. Balaam had other ideas than just to a blessing. We know he ends up telling Balak, we know from here, he teaches some other things to worship other gods and to sacrifice to idols and things like that. But he had other plans in place. He had other things he was going to do. Maybe it was just the motivation of the money and the important people that Balak sent. But whatever it was, he was not going in the right mindset. His motivation wasn't where it needed to be. He wasn't focused the way he needed to be focused. And so God was angry with him. Because God knows exactly what we think. He knows exactly what our motivations are. He knows exactly the truth that's in us. You ever think about that? We do a lot of hiding things as humans, don't we? We don't have to admit it. But we do a lot of, there's things we don't want people to know. There's things we don't want people to find out. We started as kids, right? We have things as kids that we don't want our parents to know about. As teenagers, that list gets a little bigger. But even as adults, we have things that we hide from people. People don't know about us. That if people knew about us, they might think less of us. We serve a God that knows every single thought. Everything we've ever done. And He still died for us. He still loves us. Here's a lesson we can get from Balaam. The first thing on your outline this morning is this. God will allow us to disobey, but there will be consequences. God will allow us to disobey, but there will be consequences. For sin, we're told in Romans, the wages of sin is what? Death. It's always a wage for our sin. From Adam and Eve to us now, there's a wage for our sin. It'll cost. There's consequences. But here, God let Balaam go. He let him keep going to Moab, even though he knew his motivations wasn't right. And God will allow us to go the wrong path. He will allow us to go the wrong way. It's called free will when we talk about it in the Bible. It's the difference between those that were in some countries who are put up for arranged marriages and those in countries like ours where you get to pick who you marry. God wants us to be able to choose to love Him. He wants us to choose to be dedicated and passionate to Him. But He'll let us go the other way. He'll let us go the wrong path. But if we do, there will be consequences. And here Balaam was going to go the wrong path. And that consequence was in the form of the angel of the Lord standing before him with a sword. Now this is the Malach of Yahweh. The messenger, the word for angel is Malach, messenger, is what it means. Sometimes when this term shows up, some scholars think that it's a pre-incarnate Christ. Now, this one, none of them think that. One of the reasons is because he does have a sword here, and none of the other ones does he have a sword. Of course, we know he'll have a sword in Revelation, so that doesn't necessarily write that off. But from the context and everything going on, I think it's just another angel. Let's continue. Finish verse 22 there. Now he was riding on the donkey, and his two servants were with him. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road, with a drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the road and went into the field. And Balaam struck the donkey to turn her to the road. The angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyard, with a wall on either side. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed against the wall and pressed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord went ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he struck the donkey with a staff. Now, anytime you've heard donkeys talked about, they're hard-headed. Okay? They tend to kind of do their own thing sometimes. But normally, a donkey will not turn and go another way unless there's food. Normally, what a donkey will do is just freeze up. It'll just stop, put its hooves in the ground, and say, I ain't going nowhere. This one, of course, begins taking different paths. And as he takes different paths, what does Balaam do? He starts whipping it. Starts trying to get him back in the right path. It's interesting here that Balaam is the hard-headed one in this story. To where the donkey, his eyes were open, and he was willing to move, he was willing to go. We have to ask ourselves, which one are we? When God gives us a direction, when God gives us a promise, when God gives us a way to go in our life, do we follow it? Or do we fight against it? Do we go with the right motivation? Do we go with the right purpose? Or do we just keep fighting it? Keep kicking the donkey? Keep hitting it? Because we want to go our way. We know better. We know what's right. We know what's best for us. Read earlier about Harry R. Truman. He was 83 years old when Mount St. Helens erupted. Harry decided that he didn't want to leave when they were trying to evacuate everybody. They tried to evacuate him in plenty of time to get away, but Harry said no. In fact, he said he would stay put, insisting to reporters that the smoldering mountain behind him, as they interviewed him, was just a molehill, and that they were all acting like wimps. The mountain is a mile away, Harry said. The mountain ain't going to hurt me. Well, sadly, Harry's hard-headedness, Harry's unwillingness to listen to reason, to listen to people that knew what was going on, cost him his life, along with 57 other people that died in the Mount St. Helens eruption. Second on your outline today, when God gives us warnings, change course. When God gives us warnings, change course. In the Bible, God gives us lots of warnings. In our life, if we're living as Christians, God gives us lots of warnings. He tells us what things are going to lead to blessings and what things are going to lead to problems. We know that in the Bible that marriage is supposed to be kept sacred. And we can look around our society and see that when marriage isn't kept sacred, the consequences that happen. God has given us warnings, and His warnings come true. There is consequences, as we talked about earlier. Are we willing to heed those warnings and change course? Are we willing to see the warnings God's placed in front of our lives and say, okay, that's not the direction to go. Okay, that mountain is going to fall on me and crush me and kill me. I need to go a different direction. Are we willing to do that? You know, it's so easy for us. I don't know what it is. I guess it may be because we can't actually see God face to face. I don't know if it's because so many Christians don't read their Bible. They don't really spend time in prayer very much. And so a lot of times we don't take serious the warnings God gives us. We don't take serious the directions He's calling us so many times. But we serve a God that really does things like this. He really has consequences for sin. Verse 28. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey. And she said to Balaam. Now, first of all, I was talking about Tim this Friday. And Tim said, I always wondered, I think he mentioned how Richard sometimes says he wants to see the video of some of the things that happen in the Bible. Tim said he wanted to see Balaam's face when that donkey starts talking. Imagine you go home and your dog starts talking to you. Now, some of you think your dog does talk, okay? And we're worried about you. But this donkey really talked. One of the neat things about it is elsewhere in the Bible, it mentions that this donkey talked. The donkey starts talking to him and says what I think every animal that's ever been beat by its owner would like to say. What have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times? And Balaam said to the donkey, okay, people, he's talking back. Because you have made a fool of me, I wish I had a sword in my hand, for then I would kill you. And the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey, on which you have ridden all your life long to this day? Is it my habit to treat you this way? And he said, no. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed down and fell on his face. The interesting thing about this is Balaam is heading to tell the Moabites, because the Moabites are scared. God had already promised to the people of Israel, had already commanded them in Deuteronomy to not go to war with the Moabites. The people of Israel had been camping there for a while. I'm sure they knew the Moabites knew they were there. They had to. You can't sneak around with them. And they wasn't trying anything. This whole act, this whole point of what Balaam was asking Balaam to do was pointless. God was going to let the Moabites be. They were descendants of Levi. They were descendants of Hebrew. God was going to let them be. And then Balaam, as this donkey reminds him, forgets who this donkey is. As the donkey tells him, have I ever done this to you before? Don't you think there's a reason I'm doing this? Don't you think there's a purpose? Don't just do things like this. As we look at this, as we think about this, we look at Balaam and his response, and the donkey's response to him. There's lots of things that we should already know from the Bible. We should already know from promises from God. In fact, that's the next thing on your outline. Trust what you already know to be true. Trust what you already know to be true. The Bible tells us that Jesus is Lord. But do we let Him be Lord of our life? It tells us that one day every knee will bow and every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord. Whether they believe in Him as Lord or not. So those of us that come to a church on a Sunday morning in South Arkansas, do we bow the knee to Him as Lord in our lives on a regular basis? On a daily basis? Is He Lord over me when I get up in the morning? And I make the decisions I make for the day? When I make the decisions I make of where I'll go, what I'll do? Is He Lord over everything? We already know that to be true from the Bible. But do we act it out? We know that if we're a Christian, if we're a believer, we're called to proclaim the gospel. We are called. We are not called. We are commanded to proclaim the gospel. But do we? Would our world look like it is if Christians just did this one thing? If we actively shared our faith with people when God gives us opportunities. He'll give us opportunities. Don't believe me? Just ask Him. I don't know if you've ever prayed that prayer before, but if you've ever prayed the prayer to God and said, God, please give me an opportunity to share my faith with somebody. Get ready. Buckle up. We start losing pressure. Something will fall out of the sky, put it over your face. It's going to happen. He'll do it. I promise that's a prayer He loves. You know why? Because that's our job anyway. That's like asking your kids, do you want to clean your room? It's their job anyway. They're like little kids so many times. We don't want to do this. We fight against it. It's our job anyway. We know that. We know it's already true. And here's the best thing about it. Of those things, that God will be our Lord, that we're called to share that, to proclaim the gospel, and we know He'll give us the power to do it. We know He will. He promises that too. We don't have to do it on our own. You know, there's lots of different things from this passage. Hopefully, as we talked about it, there's some things that may be new to you. But having the fact that I grew up around donkeys, I grew up taking care of donkeys. My grandfather, when he passed away, I started looking through his Bible, and at the top of every page that had a donkey on that page, he wrote donkey. Well, he used the King James Version. But he wrote that at the top of every page that had a donkey. And so, I don't know, since he died last November, I don't know, my screensaver's a donkey with a funny looking face. Maurice makes fun of my picture on Facebook with a donkey from Africa. But as I've been reading through the Bible, and especially in men's Bible study on Thursday nights, we've been reading through Exodus, and donkeys come up in there as God has given them the directions for the Passover. Now, I knew donkeys come up with, Abraham takes a donkey, he's going to go with Isaac. Joseph's brothers use donkeys when they go to Egypt. Moses rode on his way to Egypt on a donkey to go for the Exodus, to go and proclaim to the Pharaoh. And then, of course, Jesus, the triumphal entry, He comes riding in on a donkey as the King of Peace. But in Exodus, the donkeys have a little different spot. To remember the Passover. God took seriously the fact that on the Passover that a lot of people died. And He wanted to remember that. And He wanted the Israelites to remember that. So during the Passover time, the Israelites would have to sacrifice the firstborn in their house of everything. Everything. Except for two things. First of all, they wouldn't sacrifice for the humans. Instead, they would take a lamb and use as a replacement. So if you're the firstborn in the house, They wouldn't sacrifice you, but they would sacrifice a lamb in your place. Which, of course, points towards Jesus being our sacrifice later. The lamb that was slain for us, that we see in Revelation. The perfect sacrifice. But did you know donkeys were also not to be sacrificed? They would also, partially because, mostly because they were unclean animals, they weren't to be sacrificed. So instead, they would be replaced by a lamb. Now, if there was no lamb, their ending wasn't so great. They were supposed to break their neck. And I've thought about that a little bit. And I've read some people that, some commentators, especially when you talk about the passage of the triumphal entry. They compare donkeys to people. Some of you may say, well, that's not much of a stretch. But theologically, because we come into this world unclean. We come into this world as sinners, just like that donkey. We come into the world not righteous, not worthy. For all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory. But God provided a lamb for us. Here at Balaam, a guy that really didn't believe in God, but God's still going to speak through him. He's still going to speak to him. He tried to go his own way, like we do so many times as sinful people. And he didn't trust the warnings that were laid out in front of him. And then he didn't trust the truths that he already knew. And because of it, he nearly lost his life. But who got it? Who understood what God was doing? A donkey. Doesn't have a soul. They'll probably be in heaven playing with dogs, but they don't get salvation like we do. They're not God's greatest creation like we are. But a donkey got it. He was able to speak. It's an amazing thing that God did that. It just shows the power of God, right? But here's the truth. Where are we in that? Is God telling us something? Is God telling you something that He wants you to do? And are you running from it? Or are you doing something with the wrong motivation? God will let us go the wrong way, but there will be consequences. And then, when we go that way, there's going to be warning signs popping up. Are there warning signs that maybe this morning you've realized that you're ignoring? That you know you're out of step with where God wants you to go. You know you're not in the plan and the purpose God has for you. And maybe this morning, God's not going to use a donkey, although some of you can compare me to that. He's going to use His Word to draw you back. And so my plea with you this morning is this. Wherever you are, trust what you know to be true. Trust what we know this says. That the God who created everything, the God that we fall short of because of our sin, that He left heaven, came to earth, lived a perfect life for 33 years. He died on the cross for my sins, for your sins, for all of our shortcomings. For all the times we've gone the wrong way. All the times we've done the wrong things. All the times we've been hard-headed. He died for those. And the consequences He took on Himself, the major consequences. He took them on Himself on the cross through death. And then he rose again, and he's alive today. And he desires a relationship with you and I. Do you know that to be true? Have you surrendered to his lordship? And if you know that to be true, and you have been saved, you've walked the aisle, you've prayed the prayer, you've meant it, you know that God's moved in your life, and that you're saved. Are we still on the path? We're still going the direction God has for you. Has he been telling you to go a different way and you're fighting against it? I ask you, I beg you, to surrender to what you know is true. Surrender to what you know won't fail. Surrender to the one who guides the path, designed the path, and knows exactly where it leads.